He's just been picking them up really in this race, but now he's got somebody very hot in his mirrors, and that's not going to be easy. He's wide. Yeah, really deep into that corner, still side by side. Craig on the inside with his right hander, and I think he can hold him to position, but Darrell's continuing to put the pressure on. He's putting it around the outside of him. Oh, Craig. He's going to have to get his elbows out here if he wants to hold on. Darrell backs out of it, coming into the straight line speed as he looking to the inside. Once again, Craig slams the door on him, but he's gone wide, he's gone deep into the corner once again, and Darrell did not lead a second in, but taking to the outside here. He's going to try and use that side draft, I'm sure, to get around Emo Guy, but Emo Guy, I don't know if he's dropped a bit of downforce on that Lamborghini. It seems to be slightly quicker in a straight line to what it was in the first race, so he presumably made a few tweaks to the setup there, as Maze Game was trying to go around the outside, but Emo Guy's holding his own as Maze goes very deep into turn one, and he's going to go wide. I think Emo Guy should have hold up position on the inside. Is he? Yes, he's always going to squeeze him, and Maze is still there, and he's actually pulled off a great move there as Maze Gamer. He really set Emo Guy up for that throughout a few corners, and Maze Gamer now has second place, and Emo Guy's got to defend here from Miguelito. Miguelito's having a little look to the outside, coming into the chicane, but he holds him up also. Actually, no, it looks like Rocky giving a slipstream to a Raging Highboy. Richie's going to try and go around the outside of both of them here. Well, we're going to go three wide. It looks like Richie going side by side here with Rompy out to turn one, and we are three wide. Right, maybe Rompy to the inside as well. What's going to happen here? Somebody's going to give out, surely. Oh, so close to Raging Highboy, just pushing Rompy a little bit wide, but the Richie's much both of them there up into sixth. Banking here, coming out onto the back straight now. What is going to happen between these two? X-Mars on the inside, Dan on the outside now, side by side, coming up towards the bus stop chicane. What is going to happen here? Dan is just hanging out on the outside, but X-Mars going to try and put it on the inside. Oh, they bang wheels, and Dan goes straight over the chicane, and it looks like he's going to get the position due to it. He's going to have to get that position back to X-Mars because he gained it off the track, and Sub-Zero is going to mug both of them, but surely he's going to get a penalty. He passed him off the track. Sub-Zero will inevitably get a penalty. Surely Dan's now out. Don't X-Mart. Dan's back up into immediately gets a good start. Junior tucks into the slipstream, trying to get as much cover as he can, but Junior's got Dr. Benji looking to his outside, and is Dr. Benji going to try and drive around Junior? Junior going laying out the brakes on the inside. He's going to try and look back up the inside of Kurt, but Kurt's going to fend him off and holds on to the lead coming through the first couple of corners. Junior though, looking to the inside, coming up towards turn 3. Is he going to be able to get the move done? And they're still side by side. These two championship contenders going toe to toe once again, and Junior has got the move done up into the lead. Comes into the chicane for the final time here. He took the win in the sprint race, did Sergey, a regular racer in a GT3 Tier 2 on a Sunday night. A regular commentator for a Project Cars 2 GT3 series as well. In towards the penultimate corner here, keeps it together, stays up that curve on the inside line. Sergey managed to hold off Dan in the sprint race to take his first win at Motive. He's going to take his second win in the feature race here. Holds off Lightmate in a brilliant fight for the win.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel. We are here for our Wednesday night GT4 Championship on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. My name's Andy, as you may recognise, and we're at the world famous Silverstone circuit, the home of British motorsport, the host of the Formula 1 British Grand Prix, and we're in for an absolute treat here tonight. 18 drivers in this lobby, in this server. We are hopefully expecting a couple more to drop in before we get going for the race. Got 11 minutes left of the qualifying session, but before we get into that, on the right hand side of your screen are the championship standings coming into this 7th round of the season. So currently Cheese Monkey, the reigning champion of the GT4 division, leads the way. on 331 points so far this season. He's had an absolutely stellar campaign so far, as he did last season, taking the championship over standard control. This season he's had challenges from Freeman along the way, also Marty Road Racing not too far behind, but Cheese Monkey's gap to Freeman 19 points. Looks like those two the main championship contenders so far this season. You've got Marty Road Racing in third in the standings, he's on 264 points. Then you've got Quideo in fourth place. Quideo, obviously the GT3 champion here at Motive, so he knows what it takes to win a championship. Not as nifty in the GT4s as he is in the GT3s, but still pretty solid. As you can see, you don't sit fourth in the standings in a championship for no reason, so that's where Quideo is at this point in the standings. We got John Jig in fifth in the table with Xander Flanders sixth, Duke Martin in seventh place, the Lazy Camel, Nilsson, Pete Bibb and King Quinn, and are the only drivers elsewhere to score over the 100-point barrier. You got Snooky in 12th, Kodalungu 13th. Lightbase made a couple of reserve appearances. He currently sits in 14th in the standings. Edda Cady in 15th. You got Windsor, Zalova, Idris. Falguest is obviously retired from the season a little way out. P1 Gamer Dad left the Discord server, so he's definitely not going to move up the order from there. But that's more or less the drivers in the standings for the GT4s so far this season. But without further ado, let's get into the qualifying session, as it's really heating up right now. We've got Freeman currently sat on provisional pole, the man who's second in the standings to Cheese Monkey. 19 points separating these two so far this season, but Freeman looking very quick around Silverstone tonight. It's clearly done his homework and put in the practice over the course of these last couple of weeks. We've had a 1 week break here at Motive for the ACC Championships, so we started out on Monday with the Porsche Cup. Not too much of a turnout. Not sure what we're doing with the Porsche Cup at the moment, because we had a very, very low turnout on Monday night. I don't know if there's been talk amongst the drivers suggesting we do a multi-class, maybe a GT3, GT4. Whatever happens, we've done enough races to crown a champion, so if we do end up knocking the Porsche Cup on the head, we can obviously give Will Friedman the championship based on the fact that we've done 7 rounds, which is more rounds than we did a couple of seasons ago. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. Are we going to carry on, or what we're going to do? I don't know what the plan is, to be honest with you. We haven't really had a chance to let the dust settle and discuss that one. But in terms of the GT4s tonight, we've got a very, very filled out grid and plenty of drivers looking to try and stake their claim for some good points and a race win. Looking pretty close at the top of the leaderboard, with Freeman currently sat on the top spot by just under a tenth of a second to his championship rival Cheese Monkey. You've got SMT Maroon sat in third at the moment in these standings, just 2/10 off of Freeman's fastest time. John Jig in fourth at the moment in this leaderboard. Then you've got Quideo in fifth, 7/10 off. Quideo and Marty Road Racing actually tied on the exact same lap time there. That is pretty incredible stuff. Those two have done identical lap times there in 5th and 6th place. But Quideo must have set his lap time first. That is obviously the rules in racing. If you set your lap time before the other driver, then you actually get higher up in the leaderboard. Kodalungu in 7th in these standings right now, a little way off. The top 6 is so close, 77/10 of a second separating them. But then Kodalungu a little bit further back there, 1.4 off of Freeman's time. You've got Nilsson in 8th at the moment. Pete Bibb in the pits, he's currently sat in 9th, 1.7 off of the fastest time. Zalova not too far off of him in P10. Then you've got King Quinn, who's just been pushed down the order by Duke Martin. Duke Martin goes into 11th spot with that latest lap of his. Lazy Campbell just sat just behind King Quinn in 13th. You've got Morphe, Xander Flanders, Snooky, Evan IRL, and Idris still yet to set lap times as Marty Road Racing has just gone top of the leaderboard there. Just noticing that brilliant lap there from the man, the number 226 BMW. The BMW is looking pretty handy tonight, I must say. Quideo not quite on the pace of Marty and Freeman at this point in the session though, but it's looking like a very competitive front of the field right now. Mid pack also looks pretty tightly bunched, but anything can happen here tonight at Silverstone. This is obviously past the halfway point now in the season, so this is the start. This is the part of the season where it really just gets a crunch point and the pressure really starts to heat up, especially for the guys, the championship contenders like Freeman and Cheese Monkey, who are going to be in that fight, and they're going to go toe to toe for the rest of this season for that title. Cheese Monkey's obviously been here before, took the championship last season, came out on top ahead of standard control to take the championship in these GT4s. Freeman has always been there or thereabouts, but hasn't been in a contention for a championship really until this season. He's stepped up his game. He's obviously also an admin and a moderator on the Motive Racing Discord server. He's the coordinator for this GT4 series, so he knows what he's doing in the GT4 car. Is very organised and really is a great presence to have on the Discord server. Does a great job of getting everybody organised for the races, and is always in the chat, in the GT4 chat section on our Discord server, chatting to the drivers, socialising and getting practice sessions organised. As are a lot of the Team Run DJC members. You got Marty, obviously, as always popping up in the chat, asking people who have been on to practice for their upcoming races. You got it's a really lively bunch actually in the GT4s, to be fair. Lots of enthusiastic sim racers in this, and one of our most competitive, if not the most competitive league currently on the Motive Discord at the moment. It really is popping off every single week. But we got Freeman coming up towards the line. Can he go a little bit faster on his previous time? No, he can't. He stays in second for the time being, just 3/10 off for the fastest time being set by Marty. Cordeo, Pete Bibb, Duke, Martin, Idris all in the pits, so they're not going to improve from there, that is for sure. They're not going to get any better being in there. But Marty still on provisional pole, coming out of Woodcote out onto the start finish straight. What is it going to be for him? He doesn't improve, obviously stays on provisional pole though. You got Cheese Monkey coming towards the latter stages of his current lap that he's on. Number 1 Janetta's got just the right-hander of Luffield, and then the flat out, not even really a corner, of the right-hander of Woodcote to finish the lap. What's Cheese Monkey going to do here? Needs to be hard on the power coming out of the last corner. Here we go, gets a little bit of curve on the exit. The Janetta not too bad around Silverstone, I must say. You'd think with it being a power circuit it would struggle, but it's not too bad actually. Cheese Monkey up towards the line, and he stays in P3 for the time being, doesn't improve on that personal best, which is currently a 2:12.2. He's got about 600s back to SMT Maroon, who's sat in 4th at the moment in this leaderboard. But Pete Bibb, Duke, Martin, Morphy and Idris all in. Idris has just come out of the pits now, so he's off and on his way here in this session in the AMG. You got Freeman just come in through Village up towards Aintree. And this man obviously needs to gain points on Cheese Monkey in the championship. These two have been fighting it out. They've been really trading blows over the course of this season. One week one of them has a good round, the other has not so good round. They're pretty much trading victories so far this season, but obviously, as we can see, Marty really has been on it so far this evening and is looking to try and take a win off of these two if he can. Marty's still in that championship fight, kind of still there. He's 50 odd points off for the leader, Cheese Monkey, in the standings, but also you've got to factor in that you do get 60 points for a win, so being a race win's worth of points behind the championship leader isn't actually that bad when you consider that we've still got 6 races including this one left. So Marty actually very much still a contender in this championship. Cordeo very outside chance, not really just down to the points deficit, but mainly just down to the fact that he's always just on the periphery of these guys, whereas Marty is always in amongst it, and you could very feasibly imagine Marty going on a run of wins. I couldn't imagine the same for Cordeo in these cars. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a likely scenario. But we see Freeman's gone fastest here. I'm just noticing at the top of the timing screen there, Freeman has done the fastest time of the qualifying session so far, 2:11.3. He's well into the 2:11s there. He hasn't just sneaked in, he hasn't just like put in a high 2:11 there just to nab Marty. He has absolutely smashed that fastest lap time, almost half a second clear of Marty. Marty still sat in second at the moment in this session as he's just coming up through Chapel now out onto the Hangar Straight. Freeman's actually not too far behind him on the track. He's just come out of the pits and has emerged just behind him. So Freeman there has really set down a marker, and he's thrown down the gauntlet for the rest of these guys to chase. Marty out there on the lap. Cheese Monkey in the pits. He needs to get himself out there, but he's not going to. Cheese Monkey's done for the session, I think. He's parking it in the pit box, and he looks like that's going to be his qualifying session done and dusted. He's not going to improve from the pit lane. So Freeman looking good for this pole position, unless his Team Run DJC teammate Marty can upset the form book here and put himself up on that top spot, get himself on provisional pole position maybe. But Freeman currently looking like he's got this one in the bag. Maroons out there at the moment. SMT Maroons coming down the Wellington Straight down towards Brooklands. You've got John Jig in the pits, Cordeo, Xander Flander, the Lazy Camel, Coddlungu, Zaloba, Nilsson, Morphy and Idris all out there on the track. Everybody else, Pete Bibb, Duke, Martin, Snooky, King Quinn and Evan all in the pits. So what's going to happen in the final stages of this qualifying session is we see SMT Maroon provisionally sat on 4th on the grid here, second row alongside Cheese Monkey. Can he get himself ahead of Cheese Monkey? Maybe even get himself on the front row ahead of Marty. Up towards the line, SMT Maroon comes. What is it going to be for him here? He stays in P4, doesn't improve. Is his session done? Oh no, he will get one more lap in actually, apologies. he has got enough time to do another lap. So Marty will be the next over the line of the contenders here for pole position in this session. John Jig's in the pit. He's not going to improve. The man who always seems to go well in qualifying and then seems to go all Pete Tong for him in the race. Maybe tonight it can be the opposite way around. Maybe he can make gains at the start and really bring himself into the fight for the lead. But Marty coming out of the final corner, Woodcote out onto the start finish straight. What is this going to be for Marty Road Racing? Can he move himself ahead of Freeman? No, he can't, not for now, but he will get another run here in this session. We know that. Freeman over the line to start his final run of the session. Will be trying to rub salt in the wounds of his opponents here at Silverstone tonight for the 7th round of the GT4. As you got Quadeo currently 1.2 seconds off for the fastest time. Looks like he's at the moment consigned to a 3rd row start. He's just ahead of Xander Flander, who's on the 4th row. Xander Flander did actually drive for the Lazy Camel at the previous race, and looks like those two only 3/10 apart. Currently will be occupying the 4th row alongside each other, so that's an interesting one. But those two did actually team up for the previous round in Hungary. But Xander Flander currently doing a good job here. Looks like he's doing a much better job here than he did at Hungary. He didn't get much practice in for Hungary when he did the Lazy Camel's 2nd stint, so yeah, he'll be hoping that he can definitely right the wrongs of that one. But Freeman is still your man on provisional pole position. He's got just under half a second of a gap to Marty Road Racing. SMT Maroon's going to be the next of the front runners to come over the line, I think. He's just coming out of the loop onto the Wellington straight, so Maroon could be in a position to put more cars between himself and obviously between Freeman and Cheese Monkey, because those two are the championship contenders. Freeman needs a couple of drivers maybe to get in between himself and Cheese Monkey, and possibly even take the championship lead tonight if he can really get everything to go right for him. But SMT Maroon out of Luffield into Woodcote and up towards the start finish line. Can SMT Maroon get himself ahead of Cheese Monkey, maybe onto the 3rd spot on the grid? No, he can't. Sees the checkered flag. That is his session done, so he's not going to improve there. We've got Marty coming up towards the final few corners. Freeman's pitted, so he's clearly not on an improvement. He's not going to extend his qualifying margin here. Maybe made a mistake to the middle sector. I don't know if he was just on a scruffy one and thought better throw in a towel. But here comes Marty Road Racing now into the final corner. Team run DJC 1-2 at the minute in the qualifying session. Can Marty try and bring that gap down to Freeman, maybe even snatch pole away from him up towards the line? Marty Road Racing comes. What is this going to be for him? He doesn't improve. He stays in 2nd. So Marty with no answer there to Freeman's pace, as we see Quadeo going up into 4th place there in the dying knockings of the session, pushing SMT Maroon and John Jig down to 5th and 6th places respectively. Lovely lap there from Quadeo. The GT3 champion there will be starting on a 2nd row alongside Cheese Monkey. Xander Flander up towards the line. What can he do? He can't improve. He stays in 7th place. Kodalungu's coming in towards Brooklands now, and he's got a couple of corners to the right and another right to finish the lap. Bit of a twitch there coming out of Brooklands into Luffield. Would have put him offline, maybe upset the balance of the car ever so slightly, as he now gets the car rotated on that curb ever so slightly. A little bit on the exit there, not too much. Kodalungu down in 9th place. Can he push himself up the order here? And he does actually. He gets himself ahead of the Lazy Camel, so he gains 1 place there right at the death. So Kodalungu up into 8th, and that looks like it's that then for the session. So that is that for the session, ladies and gentlemen. And it's my throat keeps getting stuck. Freeman takes pole position by almost half a second there ahead of Marty Road Racing. Cheese Monkey will be lining up on the 2nd row alongside Quadeo, with SMT Maroon in 5th, John Jig 6th, then Xander Flander, Kodalungu, the Lazy Camel and Zaloba completing the top 10. 19 cars on the grid now. No, that's incorrect, because there are apparently now 2 Evans. So that would be Evan driving in the number 9 Maserati, and it would also be Evan driving in the number 2 Mercedes. So not a very good double, I must say, driving in a different car. Not a very good effort there from you, Mr. Evan IRL Imposter. But that is that then for the qualifying session. Stay tuned, guys. We'll have the race up and running very shortly. We're going to have a quick 2-minute break so the drivers can get their setup sorted out, followed by a formation lap. So be about 5 minutes or so. Grab yourself a drink, a bevy, a can of whatever, or grab yourself some food, maybe a pot noodle, whatever you got to do. Go for a cigarette if you smoke, and we'll see you on the other side of this very short break.
he's just been picking them off really in this race, but now he's got somebody very hot in his mirrors, and that's not going to be easy. He goes wide. Yeah, really deep into that corner, still side by side. Craig's got the inside with his right hander, and I think he's holding on to position, but Darrell's continuing to put pressure on. He's putting it around the outside of him. Oh, Craig. He's going to have to get his elbows out here if he wants to hold on. Darrell backs out of it, coming into a straight line speed. As he looks to the inside once again, Craig slams the door on him, but he's gone wide. He's gone deep into the corner once again, and Darrell did not need a second to the outside here. He's going to try and use that side draft, I'm sure, to get around Emo Guy. But Emo Guy, I don't know if he's dropped a bit of downforce on that Lamborghini. It seems to be slightly quicker in a straight line to what it was in the first race. So he's presumably made a few tweaks to the setup there. As Maze Game is trying to go around the outside, but Emo Guy's holding his own. As Maze goes very deep into turn one, and he's going to go wide. I think Emo Guy should have to hold that position on the inside. Is he? Yes, he's always going to squeeze him, and Maze is still there, and he's actually pulled off a great move there, has Maze Gamer. He really set Emo Guy up for that throughout a few corners, and Maze Gamer now has second place, and Emo Guy's got to defend here from Miguelito. As Miguelito's having a little look to the outside, coming into the chicane, but he holds him off. Also, actually, no, it looks like Rompu's giving the slipstream to Amazing Pie Boy. Richie's going to try and go around the outside of both of them here. Well, we're going to go three wide. It looks like Richie going side by side here with Rompu coming out to turn one, and we are three wide. Right, Amazing Pie Boy to the inside as well. What's going to happen here? Somebody's got to give out. Surely, oh, so close. Amazing Pie Boy just pushing Rompu a little bit wide, but Richie's mugged both of them there up into the banking here, coming out onto the back straight now. What is going to happen between these two? X-Mark's on the inside, Dan on the outside now, side by side, coming up towards the must-stop chicane. What is going to happen here? Dan is just hanging out on the outside, but X-Mark's going to try and put it on the inside. Oh, they bang wheels, and Dan goes straight up the chicane, and it looks like he's going to get the position due to it. He's going to have to get that position back to X-Mark because he gained it off the track, and Sub-Zero is going to mug both of them, but surely he's going to get a penalty. He passed them off the track. Sub-Zero will inevitably get a penalty. Surely Dan's now out. X-Mark. Dan's back up into Kurt. Immediately gets a good start. Junior tucks into the slipstream, trying to get as much colour as he can, but Junior's got Dr. Benji looking to his outside, and he's Dr. Benji going to try and drive around Junior. Junior going laying out on the brake start on the inside. He's going to try and look up back on the inside of Kurt, but Kurt's going to fend him off and holds on to the lead coming through the first couple of corners. Junior though, looking to the inside, coming up towards turn 3. Is he going to be able to get a move done? And they're still side by side. These two championship contenders going toe to toe once again, and Junior has got the move done up into the lane. Comes into the chicane for the final time here. He took the win in the sprint race, did Sergey, our regular racer in a GT3 Tier 2 on a Sunday night. A regular commentator for a Project Cars 2 GT3 series as well. In towards the penultimate corner here, keeps it together, stays up that curve on the inside line. Sergey managed to hold off Dan in the sprint race to take his first win at Motive. He's going to take his second win in the feature race here. Holds up right, making a brilliant fight for the win.
Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. We're moments away from the start of the GT4 Championship Round 7 here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione here at Silverstone. Freeman will be starting this one on pole position, having taken a resounding pole position by almost half a second ahead of his team run DJC teammate Marty Road Racing. Also driving in the BMW, we've got GJoVannini in the Ginetta. Behind them in third place on the second row with Credeo alongside him, so that's going to be an interesting one off the line. Hopefully for GJoVannini he'll be able to get enough of a bite to hold on from the BMW behind him, but it's going to have a much better straight line speed up towards Copse Corner. It's a very short run though up towards the first corner, so maybe, just maybe, it might be alright for him, but it's going to be difficult to say the least. SMT Maroon lining up on the third row, driving in the Aston. That's a interesting choice for SMT Maroon. It's good to have some British cars out on the track alongside the obviously Ginetta as well. We got John Jig on the third row, even alongside SMT Maroon in the Mercedes. Xander Flander in the Ginetta, followed by Codlung also in the Merc. Another Ginetta and Merc combo on the fifth row with the Lazy Camel and Nilsson. Then we've got the Zaloba, Pete Bibb, Duke Martin also in the Aston with Snooky in the Merc alongside him. King Quinn in the Aston with Morphy in the BMW. Evan in the Mercedes has gone for the Mercedes rather than the Maserati, so that's obviously his choice. He was tempted to go for the Maserati, but in the end looks like he's gone for the Mercedes. And Idris will be lining up in 18th place here, but we're about to go racing for round 7 at Silverstone. Up towards the line they come. Here we go. Does Freeman get a good bite off the line, or is Marty going to jump him up towards turn 1? As up towards the line, it's the second line, that's where the race actually starts. And green, we are racing now here at Silverstone Circuit for round 7 of the GT4s. Freeman leads into turn 1. It's Freeman getting up the inside. Oh no, GJoVannini is straight away. Has had an incident there with Marty Road Racing. What was he trying to do there? That was a very, very speculative move up the inside. Freeman leads and has got a massive lead already at the front. Quideo into second place ahead of SMT Maroon. John Jig, Xander Flander, Codlungu, there's the Lazy Camel, but that is Marty and GJoVannini dropping back way into the pack. What was going on there? What was GJoVannini trying to do? He was trying to throw it down the inside, but it just didn't come off. There was no room there. A bit of a Verstappen-Hamilton incident between those two. But Freeman leads ahead of Quideo right now. Quideo up into second place with SMT Maroon, Xander Flander there in fourth place. You've got John Jig, Zaloba and GJoVannini down to 7th place here after that incident that we saw on the first lap with Marty Road Racing. Marty down to the back of the pack, GJoVannini in 7th place. Freeman leads ahead of Quideo. There's SMT Maroon who's just ahead there of Xander Flander. But John Jig there in the background in 5th place. Zaloba is in 6th with GJoVannini now trying to recover the positions. He's ahead of Codlungu. He's got Nilsson a second further back. Then Pete Bibb. Evan is up into 11th place from 18th on the grid. What a first lap it's been from Evan, as Duke Martin there in 12th. King Quinn, Snooky, Idris has gained a couple of positions with Marty, Morphy and the Lazy Camel has had a horror show of an opening lap. He's down to 18th place. Didn't see what happened there to the Lazy Camel, but he's really not had the start to the race that he would have needed. That was a hiccup, but Freeman leading by 1.2 seconds on this first lap ahead of Quideo, and Quideo is still hounding and hassling, keeping him on his toes in the early stages of this race. Maroon there in 3rd, 4 tenths back to Xander Flander. You've got John Jig. There's Zaloba dropping off the front at the dropping off the back of these top 5 over the course of this first lap so far. Codlungu there in the background is trying to keep GJoVannini behind him, because Codlungu's made the move on GJoVannini somewhere. Didn't see where. GJoVannini now throwing one down the inside into Brooklands, very late on the brakes as he pushed him a little bit wide. Codlungu ever so wide off onto the runoff areas. GJoVannini's now going to try and hold it around the outside for Luffield. They're still side by side. GJoVannini is getting very aggressive in the first part of this race. It's not needed. He's got a championship lead by 19 points, but he doesn't want Freeman to be closing that gap as much as he is, as now he's going to try and get the cut back out of Woodcote, but it's a flat out corner. You're not really going to get much of a cut back through there. He's looking to the outside, as now it's Codlungu defending to the inside down in towards Copse Corner, and for the time being Codlungu holds on to that 7th place, as GJoVannini now having a really turbulent start to this race. Now looking to the outside, coming up towards Maggots and Beckett's. Is Codlungu going to try and squeeze him out? GJoVannini tucks in behind him for the time being, thinks better of that one, as he's got Nilsson and Pete Bibb queuing up behind him here, and in the background there you've also got Duke Martin battling it out with King Quinn, and you've got Snooky in the background of that as well. Idris Marty down to 16th place after that collision with GJoVannini into turn 1 on lap 1. Morphy and the Lazy Camel completing the classification at the moment. But Freeman leading by 7 tenths of a second. Quideo has not let Freeman off the hook in his opening couple of laps though. He's keeping him very much honest here in the early stages of this race, as these two coming in towards Vale Chicane. They've got 1.2 seconds back to SMT Maroon, running in third place at this point. You've got Xander Flander 4/10 further back in fourth. Then you've got John Jig about a second off for the front four now, dropping off for them ever so slightly. So over there in sixth place has got a set 1.3 back to Kodalungu, who's trying to keep the Cheese Monkey behind him. As Cheese Monkey's going to try and go around the outside here of Club Corner out onto the international pit straight. Still side by side as Cheese Monkey's trying to carry the speed in the Ginetta, but it's got no straight line speed whatsoever. He now chops him off and covers off any attack from Kodalungu as Kodalungu's up the inside in towards Abbey. Cheese Monkey trying to get the cut back. In the end, gives him a bit of a tap in the rear. Kodalungu back up ahead of Cheese Monkey once again. These two have now got Nilsson and Pete Bibb all over them as Pete Bibb gets ahead of Nilsson in towards Village. Cheese Monkey still keeping behind, still staying behind Kodalungu, as Kodalungu's done really well getting his elbows out and defending from that Ginetta, which has got such superior cornering speed, but then down the straights it's got no answer to the Mercedes of Kodalungu. Kodalungu's still holding on. Cheese Monkey's going to have absolutely no chance due to the fact that the Ginetta has no pace whatsoever down the straights. In the background of this, you've got Evan round the outside of Nilsson up into 10th place. Nicely done there from Evan. King Quinn in the background there has got Snooky just behind him. Idris, Marty Road Racing and Morphe. There's Duke Martin has dropped down to 7th place. He's had an absolute nightmare of a lap there as Duke Martin. He's now got the Lazy Camel just behind him, but Duke Martin, that's gone horribly wrong there for him on that lap. Freeman though leads by 1.3 seconds ahead of Cordeo, and Cordeo in turn has got just under a second back to Maroon at this point. Xander Flander running in 4th place is keeping Maroon very much on his toes in that battle for the final podium spots. These four have well and truly gapped John Jig at this point. Cheese Monkey still can't get a way around Kodalungu, and Kodalungu driving for Team Run DJC, very highly motivated to keep Cheese Monkey at bay for as long as he can and fend off the charge of the Ginetta, especially when you consider the incident that happened early on. But he gets a bit out of shape there coming through Beckett's, and Cheese Monkey around the outside is going to have the inside for Chapel, but once again the Ginetta is going to have nothing down the hanger straight as they come up towards Stowe Corner. And now you're going to see once again Kodalungu in that slipstream pulling to the outside. Cheese Monkey will have the better cornering grip and will be able to brake later than the Mercedes, and I think he may now have this done if he can keep it tight to the apex coming through Stowe on the exit. He might just have a chance. Cuts to the inside of the exit at the corner a little bit. He'll now defend the inside for Vale, and I think that Cheese Monkey may finally have that move done up into 7th place. Great racing from those two. And Cheese Monkey back up into 7th place. Really excellent driving there from those two as Cheese Monkey now gains the position once again and can now try and chase down the leaders, but he's lost so much time to the leaders with all of that dicing it out with Kodalungu. Freeman's already got a 1.6 second gap to Cordeo, Maroon and Xander Flander joining this battle for the podium spots. John Jig's dropped off for that battle a little bit there. Zaloba falling off the back of John Jig. Cheese Monkey that's what you see where he is now. That is where he is in comparison to the race leaders, so he's about 10 seconds now off of the leader. Freeman, his big championship rival, has really stolen the march on the rest of them so far in this race. Kodalungu has now got Pete Bibb and Evan really close on the back of him here in 8th, 9th and 10th places. You've got Nilsson there in the background losing time to these guys as we speak. King Quinn has managed to gap Snooky a little bit. Snooky's got Marty all over the back of him as Marty's looking to try and recover positions here in this race. Marty up the inside into Brooklands. Can he complete this move here on Snooky? I think he is going to get that done quite routinely there. Beautifully done there from Marty Road Racing upper position, as now Idris has got Duke Martin up his inside into Brooklands. Duke Martin's picked off Idris there, and Idris is just going to get pushed out a little bit there by the Lazy Camel. The Lazy Camel moves himself up into 17th place there. Beautifully done there from him, but Duke Martin gaining a couple of positions there and can now try and chase down Morphe up ahead of him there in 15th place. Freeman leads by 2 seconds out the front, continuing to do the business right now as he's got Cordeo's got Maroon within 0.4 of a second of him at the moment. Maroon really putting the pressure on Cordeo. Since Cordeo's dropped off a little bit off of Freeman, he's now got the heavy pressure there from Maroon. You've got Xander Flander in the background there in 4th place. 3.5 seconds back to this man John Jig, who's running in 5th place. There's 4.3 back to Zaloba, who's got a train of cars including Cheese Monkey. Kodalungu there in the background has got Pete Bibb Evan all over him as well, and these guys now really putting some space between themselves and Nilsson running in 11th place. King Quinn has got Marty pretty close on the back of him as they're coming up towards Stowe, but for the time being Marty not able to get the move done there on King Quinn, but the speed that he's closed in on him since getting ahead of Snooky just really goes to show the pace that Marty's got in this race, and how unfortunate it was that collision that he had with Cheese Monkey in towards turn 1, lap 1, Copse corner. And I have to say, if that gets to a stewards inquiry, I think that the stewards will have a lot of sympathy for Marty there. I think that Cheese Monkey may be getting a penalty for that one. But it's currently Xanafanda putting the pressure on Maroon. In fact, Maroon is really close on the back of Quideo as well. Cheese Monkey still putting the pressure on Zaloba, looking to the outside here, coming up towards Aintree, but unable to make that move just at this point. You got Freeman there leading the race by just under 3 seconds at the moment over Quideo. Quideo is still keeping Maroon and Xanafanda at bay very nicely indeed. Cheese Monkey is absolutely all over that rear bumper there of Zaloba. Up towards Brooklands, the Ginetta's got nothing on the Mercedes, but he's so close to him that he might still be picking up a slipstream. He's going to go for a move up the inside. He goes for a late challenge up the inside. Beautiful move there from Cheese Monkey. Oh no! Kodolungu spins Zaloba round, and Zaloba is off a little bit there, and it's going to rejoin the track area. I think he's lost out to Pete Bibb and Evan as well. Evan gets through. Nilsson is going to follow them through as well, I think. Zaloba, where is Zaloba filtered out? He's filtered out down in 12th place. He's behind, no, he's in 11th. So he's behind Evan, Kodolungu and Nilsson now, as Kodolungu loses out to Evan. Evan's up into 8th place. Pete Bibb there getting up into 7th due to Kodolungu and Zaloba's little incident, but Zaloba's not going to be happy with that one. Kodolungu was very aggressive as Zaloba got out of it when he saw Cheese Monkey making the lunge up the inside, and ultimately got speared into by Kodolungu. Cheese Monkey, oblivious to all of that, up into 6th place, can now try and chase down the top 5. John Jig will be next on his radar. Maroon still close on the back of Quideo, as these two have managed to gap Xanafanda, who's now running in 4th place, just 1.3 off of a podium spot here. Nilsson there very close on the back of Kodolungu here, but I think Kodolungu's responded to that a little bit. Obviously he was in a bit of a rut a few moments ago with that collision with Zaloba, as those two have now got are now separated by Nilsson at the moment, as Nilsson's trying to get onto the back of Kodolungu if he can. Doesn't look like they've got too much damage there, as Zaloba very wide out of Stowe. He's probably a little bit frustrated with that now, with the way that went with Kodolungu. He's probably feeling a bit fired up after that one, and who could blame him at this point. But Pete Bibb has got Evan very close on his back now, as they're coming over the line for the international pit straight. This isn't the actual finish line for this particular race, but right now Evan's keeping Kodolungu behind him, and he's really close on the back of Pete Bibb in this race. You've got Freeman still leading by just over 4 seconds now to Quideo, so he's really gained over the last lap or so. And Maroon is now very close with Xanafanda. Xanafanda's really gained on him over the course of that last lap there. Xanafanda down the inside in towards Brooklands. Is he going to be able to go do the late braking move here on Maroon? No, he thinks better of that one. Tucks in for the time being, and Maroon actually holding on for 3rd place there. The timing screen says otherwise, but Maroon is ahead of Xanafanda there in 3rd place. That timing screen is lying to us there. Pete Bibb still running ahead of Evan at the moment, half a second between those two. Kodolungu just behind there in 9th place. You've got Nilsson there in 10th. Zaloba running in 11th place here in this race. 7/10 back to Marty Road Racing running in 12th, who's still trying to make headway in this race after the disastrous start that happened to him earlier on. Maroon is running in 3rd ahead of Xanafanda, but he's lost a lot of time to Quideo. These two now losing time to the man in P2 since they've been fighting it out with each other here, coming up towards Maggots and Beckett's. As they've got so much going on right now. This is so hard to keep up with, but I'm trying my best at the moment, guys, as currently we've still got these two running in 2nd and 3rd, separated by not much at all. JR, mate, has been saying there that what is he doing there, talking about I don't know if he's talking about Cheese Monkey or who he's talking about there, but yeah, JR not happy with one of the drivers out there, saying the Merc was sideways before Cod made contact. Yeah, possibly may have miscalled that one, but at the moment Xanafanda is still on the back of Maroon at this point, 3/10 between these two. JR saying Andy's had his Weetabix. I didn't have my Weetabix, but I certainly had a very appetising breakfast this morning, and it's kept me going for the entire day, so that's always good to see. But at the moment Maroon's still keeping Xanafanda behind him at this point. There's only 3/10 of a second between those two. Evan is still on the back of Pete Bibb, still hasn't managed to find a way through. Kodolungu there running just behind them in 9th place after that collision with Zeynalov a couple of laps ago. He's dropped him down the order ever so slightly. You've got Zeynalov running 2 seconds behind Nilsson. He's now got Marty on him here. Zeynalov's got heavy pressure from Marty road racing. Has Marty done him yet? As the cameraman is just taking a little while to catch up, but Marty has done Zeynalov, and he's up into 11th place. The timing board says otherwise, but Marty road racing is ahead of SMT Zeynalov and is now in 11th place in this race. Zeynalov is still on the back of Maroon, still can't find a way through. Evan is also trying to find a way through ahead of Pete Bibb, but still hasn't found that opportunity yet. Nilsson keeping these two in sight at the moment, not dropping back too much off of these three even. Obviously you've got Pete Bibb, Evan and Codlingu in the foreground. There's Nilsson in the background just coming through Brooklands. Cheese Monkey, since getting ahead of this pack, is now over 4 seconds clear of them, but not really making the gains on Jonjic that I think he would like to be making, and that could pretty much be down to the fact that Jonjic has now really picked up the pace over these last couple of laps. Took a little while to get into his stride, did Jonjic, and Jonjic's a man who usually goes well in the qualifying sessions, and then the races tend to be his undoing, but so far in this race he's started slowly and he's now really getting himself into this one. He's only a couple of seconds off of the battle between Maroon and Xander Flander, and to be fair, those two have been battling and they have been dropping off of Quideo a little bit, but Jonjic now looking like he could be on the horizon here for a podium in this one. If he plays his cards right, keeps it cool, doesn't make too many mistakes, then this could very much be an opportunity for Jonjic, and especially around a fast track like Silverstone where the Merc is going to be strong, I think that Jonjic could be a contender here in this one for sure. As we see Pete Bibb trying to defend from Evan. In fact, Evan has got ahead of Pete Bibb up into 7th and has now got a little bit of a gap back to these two. Pete Bibb has lost out, I think. Oh no, hold on. No, I do apologise. That's my mistake there. That's my mistake. Pete Bibb's still ahead of these two. In fact, it's Evan who's just been done by Codlingu. So Codlingu's up into 8th place ahead of Evan IRL, as Evan really taking a bit of grass there, coming through between the gap between Vale and Club. But yeah, that's now Codlingu up into 8th place ahead of Evan and can now try and chase down Pete Bibb, as Evan's throwing a little feint to the inside up towards Abbey, trying to distract him as if he can, but no such rewards there for Evan, and Codlingu holding on for that one. JR in the comments says Marty's on the hunt for top 10 after the Turn 1 horror show. To be fair, JR, I think it's going to end up a lot higher up than just top 10 here, running 11th place. I think a top 5 is definitely going to be on the cards for Marty in this one. With the pace that he's showing right now, I think he's got to be aiming for at least a top 5 here in this one. But in the meantime, Codlingu's made a mistake. He's dropped down to 10th place here. Don't know if JR can shed any light on what's happened there, but Codlingu down a couple of places, has lost out to Evan and Nilsson in that little exchange there. Evan's dropping off the back of Pete Bibb, Pete Bibb getting the pace down and possibly even starting to match the pace of Cheese Monkey running in P6. I don't know whether Cheese Monkey's got a bit of damage, but Pete Bibb's now putting a bit of a gap between himself, Evan, Nilsson, Codlingu and Marty. This big train of cars, 4-car train here battling over 8th place, but Pete Bibb's now separated himself from that group. But right now Evan there trying to defend from Nilsson, coming down the national pit straight over the line up towards Copse Corner. Codlingu's got damage, says JR. That would make sense after the collision with Zeynalov a couple of laps ago. He's now got his teammate Marty bearing down on him, and I have a feeling that maybe Cod won't make this too difficult for Marty, as Marty looks to the inside into Maggots, but still Cod not opening that door, not letting him through. But you have the feeling that Marty will get this done sooner rather than later. Evan's still keeping Nilsson behind him just about, as in the background there the camera pans to Snooky there. But this is currently a great little battle going on for 8th place. Evan's still running in 8th, but he's now put a bit of a gap between himself and Nilsson. Codlingu and Marty now hot on the heels of Nilsson coming up towards Stoke Corner. These guys really gapped Zeynalov. Zeynalova's dropped off the pace with the possible damage that he's got on that Mercedes AMG. JR in the comments says they're changing direction in the braking zones. Cod's not happy with that. Obviously Cod, if he has any issues with that, must put in a stewards inquiry, and the stewards will have to take a look and take an unbiased view on exactly what's going on there in the races. But we'll definitely have to take a close look at that and see what's going on, because if there are any incidents going on of drivers are taking advantage or just driving downright dirty, then we'll obviously intervene and make sure that everybody gets their just desserts. Little hot fuzz quote there. But at the moment it's currently still Freeman leading this race, and Freeman has got some extremely strong pace here tonight. He is almost 8 seconds clear. We're only 18 minutes into this race. We're not even near the pit window at this point, and he's already well clear out the front of the field. Made a little bit easier by the fact that Marty and Cheese Monkey had that collision. If it wasn't for that, I reckon they would still be there, maybe in the picture, but Freeman's just absolutely ran off so far in this one. He's now got 8 seconds to Credeo. Credeo's got just over a second back to Maroon. Maroon's shaking off the challenge of Sander Flander for the time being, so second, third and fourth now running a little way apart, not really battling at this point. Djphil-green had started to close in a little bit on these three a couple of laps ago, but he's now dropping off once again. He's now 3 seconds adrift of that podium battle. Cheese Monkey there is in 6th and is really gaining on Djphil-green. Those last couple of laps there, Cheese Monkey's gained about 2 seconds on him, so Cheese Monkey's now getting into a bit of a groove since that collision with Marty earlier on. Marty running in 9th is now closing up onto the back of Pete Bibb and Evan, having got ahead of Kodalungu, his teammate, up into 9th place. And looks as though Nilsson's on the back of Kodalungu now as well. Zaloba's dropped down to 12th place. He's behind Nilsson. He's got just under 2 seconds back to Snooky at the moment, who's running in 13th place. Morphy there has got Kingquin very close on the back of him here. The Lazy Camel and Duke Martin also getting involved in this one, but Morphy at the moment keeping his 4-car train behind him, as we saw a big slide there from Kingquin coming through Beckett's, as he held on to that as the cameraman decides to as and when to catch up with the action. But here we go, we're back on it now, out of Chapel Curve onto the hanger straight once again. It's Lazy Camel in that slipstream. Duke Martin in the background pretty close on these guys as well now, as they're coming up towards Stowe Corner here for the 9th time here in this race, and it's Morphy currently keeping these guys at bay, and it's actually pulled out a little bit of a gap there in that first sector so far. Kingquin, the Lazy Camel and Duke Martin in hot pursuit at the moment, as Freeman, Credeo and SMT Maroon battling it out over first, second and third. Well, not really, actually no, it's not really a battle in terms of first, but in terms of second and third, Maroon's really brought himself back onto that rear end of Credeo, and this is now looking like it's once again battle on between these two. Sander Flander a little bit off the pace with these two, currently a second behind them at the moment as they're coming down the Wellington Straight down towards Brooklyn. So you've got Djphil-green there running in 5th place, he's 2.7 seconds up on the back of them. Cheese Monkey there running in 6th place, 4 seconds behind Djphil-green. Djphil-green's gained a little bit of time over Cheese Monkey over the course of this lap so far. The gap was under 4 seconds at the beginning of the lap, it's now just over 4 seconds, so Djphil-green now responding to that pace and is closing in on the podium battlers, Credeo, Maroon and Sander Flander. Pete Bibb there running in 7th, just coming through Brooklyn. You've got Marty there in 8th, Evan in 9th, Kodalungu completing that top 10, second further back to Nilsson there. You've got Zaloba a long way behind with Snooky just over a second behind him. Morphy there in 14th place with the Lazy Camel. Duke Martin's got ahead of Kingquin into 16th spot, and Idris there running in 18th place at the moment in this race. F1 racer Gamer for Life says, how's it going everybody? Game for Life, obviously one of the main contenders, one of the championship contenders in the Friday Formula 1 League, says, how's it going everyone? Good luck to everyone. I'm a little late, but that's okay. It is okay, mate. We'll let you off for that one. But yeah, it's great racing tonight, mate. To be honest with you, it's been non-stop action here, and it's Freeman currently leading the race by over 10 seconds. Maroon's within 0.3 of a second of him at the moment. Sander Flander's a second and a half further back, and Djphil-green's starting to really gain on Sander Flander. Djphil-green could be bringing himself into that battle for the podium spots. Cheese Monkey not really making gains on Djphil-green, but he is gaining on the podium runners currently at the moment, Credeo, Maroon and Sander Flander. Pete Bibb a long way back has got Marty now closing in on him. Marty's got ahead of Evan and Kodalungu over these last couple of laps, so Marty Road Racing could be in with a very strong chance of getting a top 5 here tonight. I'm putting my money on Marty getting a top 5. JR saying Marty has so much more pace, shame about the damage and the incident. Yeah, 100% mate, but I think that once he comes into the pits, that might alleviate that a little bit. It will have to have a slightly longer pit stop to obviously atone for the damage that he's got. But I think once that pit stop's done and out of the way, he will definitely have some strong pace in the later part of the race. Currently we've got Kodalungu there running in 10th place. He's half a second off of the back of Evan. In fact, he's got ahead of Evan. In fact, that looks like Kodalungu now ahead of Evan on RL, so he's made that move. Obviously coming through Abbey, it must have been. So now Evan's up into... Sorry, Kodalungu's up into 9th place ahead of Evan. Maroon's still on the back of Credeo at the moment, coming into Luffield. He's looking to the outside, trying to get the cut back here out of Luffield up towards Woodcote and the start-finish straight. Can he get it though? That's the question, and it looks like he's not able to this time around. Sander Flander's really closed up onto the back of Maroon over the course of this final sector here, and it's now definitely within a second of that Aston Martin there. Look at that, 0.8 of a second now separating Maroon and Sander Flander, but 0.7 between Credeo and Maroon. 1.5 separating these three drivers, battling out over second place. They're 10 seconds adrift of the leader Freeman at this point. Djphil-green there running 3 seconds behind in 5th place. It's got a further 3 seconds back to Cheese Monkey, but Cheese Monkey's really gaining on John Jig at this point. He's bringing that gap down and very much in contention here for a 5th spot in this race. Pete Bibb 10 seconds behind in 7th place, has got 4 tenths back to Marty. Marty's now breathing down his neck, going up towards Magnussen Beckett, looking to the inside if he can he make this move here? Can Marty get himself ahead of Pete Bibb? Not at the moment, he can't. Codlung in the background there has gapped Evan a little bit since getting the move done on him a few laps ago. You've got Snooky there, has now got Zalova, heavy pressure here. 12th and 13th places coming out of Copse Corner up towards Magnussen Beckett, as now Zalova's got the run. Can he get this move done on Snooky? Looks like Snooky must have made the move on him quite recently actually. And Zalova manages to get the move done back on Snooky up into 12th place. Great racing there from those guys. Morphy's picked up a drive-through penalty, presumably for track limits. He's going to have to come in and serve that over the next 3 laps. Pit window will be opening in a couple of laps time, so the drivers will now have that in the back of their minds as they're looking to try and get the undercut or overcut depending on where they are and what they're doing. Duke Martin is within 8 tenths of a second of the Lazy Camel at the moment. These guys battling out over 15th place. They're a little bit adrift of Zaloba, Snooky and Morphy at this point, but Duke Martin's managed to gap King Quinn by almost 2 seconds since making that move a couple of laps ago. But Freeman still out in front, has got over an 11-second lead over Quadeo in the lead of this race. Maroon running within 6 tenths of a second of Quadeo at the moment, and looks as though Zanderfrander's got ahead of Quadeo. Actually, Zanderfrander's got ahead of both of them. What's happened there? I don't know what's happened to Quadeo and Maroon, but Zanderfrander's now into 2nd place. This is incredible developments here in this race. Zanderfrander now 2 positions up on where he was, and I don't know, Quadeo and Maroon must have had a mistake or maybe an incident, because John Jig is now really close on the back of them, and Cheese Monkey is less than 2 seconds behind this battle for the podium spots. So this is now really heating up in this fight for basically 2nd place in this race, although having said that, Zanderfrander's got a bit of a gap back to these guys now, but Quadeo running just ahead of Maroon as they're coming out of Woodcote onto the start-finish straight. John Jig in hot pursuit, and Cheese Monkey in the background in that Ginetta after that incident with Marty Road Racing on the first lap into turn 1 is now very much in the picture here, as he's running about 15 seconds ahead of the man who we had that collision with. Marty's managed to clear all of the traffic. 12 seconds is the gap between Cheese Monkey and Marty, but he's managed to clear all that traffic up into 7th place ahead of Pete Bibb, Codlungu and Nilsson. Evans dropped off a little bit off of that battle now for the top 10 spots. You see there he's he's just over 2 seconds behind them at this point, as we've got Zaloba running in 12th place. He's got 7 tenths of a second back to Snooky, with Morphy in the background there in at 14th place, having picked up that drive-through penalty for cutting corners. You've got Lazy Camel there in the background in 15th, and Duke Martin and King Quinn battling it out coming into Cops, but Duke Martin for the time being closes the door, and King Quinn hasn't got a way through at this point. JR saying in the comments, please don't Murray Walker Freeman, Andy. What do you mean, as if to say nothing can stop Freeman now? He's got this in the bag. Absolutely no way that he's going to lose this race whatsoever. Is that what you're talking about? But at the moment, Zanderfrander's still running in 2nd place. He's got 1.3 back to Quadeo. Maroon there running in 4th place with John Jig on the back of them. 4 cars battling it out over 2nd place here in this race. Cheese Monkey a further couple of seconds back there in 6th. Marty has gapped Pete Bibb a little bit over the course of this last lap or so. 1.7 now between them since making that move. Codlungu a further 4 seconds back has got Nilsson really close on the back of him. Drive-through penalty for Zaloba. Zaloba's hit the point where he gets the drive-through penalty there. Not the situation that he needed, wanted or craved for in this race, but it looks as though he's really overstepped the mark there. Snooky, Morphy, Lazy Camel and Duke Martin in close contention. Well, actually Duke Martin and King Quinn have dropped off a little bit off of those guys over these last couple of laps, but it's currently Zaloba really trying to keep Snooky behind him. Morphy, the Lazy Camel, very much in contention for this 12th place here in this race, as we see the Lazy Camel there having a little look, trying to get a move done on Morphy. Gets a little bit out of shape there onto the curve, and that would have affected his run there coming out of the loop a little bit. Freeman's got a 15-second gap over Zanderflander, is absolutely running away with this race. Quadeo within a second of Zanderflander, coming out of Cops up towards Maggots and Beckett's. Number 5's picked up a drive-through. Quadeo's picked up a drive-through. No! Oh, what a shame there for Quadeo, as he was running in a podium spot and looked to be battling it out with the fastest drivers here in this GT4 championship. He's picked up a drive-through. 3 drivers have picked up drive-throughs here in this race. JR saying, why do they fight so hard with 35 minutes to go? They should just push to gap the pack. Yeah, I don't know. Difficult, isn't it, when you're actually in the thick of it? Especially because both drivers are going to think that they're quicker than the other. Both drivers are going to think that they have the right to be ahead of the other and leading the charge, if so to speak. So yeah, I see what you're saying, but I also see what it's like being out on the track as well. When you're behind and you want to catch up, all you want to do is get ahead of the guy in front of you, because all you feel like is that they're holding you up. That's all you feel like in that situation. So I totally understand why they are jostling for position. But Maroon, the first driver to get his, well, he's picked up his, he's just come into the pits and done his pit stop and got it done and out of the way. Obviously coming in from P4 before he came into the pits. Evans come out, so has, well, we know he's coming out, so is Pete Bibb. Maroon also emerging from the pits there in 11th spot. Pete Bibb 12th, Evans 13th in this race. So Loba has done his drive through, so he's now just going to come in and make his pit stop before the end of this race. Morphy likewise, Lazy Camel is in his box as we speak. So Zaloba and Morphy both served their drive-throughs. Maroon, Pete Bibb, Evan, Snooky and Idris have all come in and made their pit stops. Cordeo is the only driver who hasn't served his drive-through, who needs to come in. 3 drivers picked up drive-throughs for track limits in the early stages of this race. Freeman, the race leader, is in the pits. 15 seconds was his gap to Xander Flander. He can very well afford to put some fresh tyres on and spend as long as he likes in that pit box. He can grab a cup of tea, he can get out, get some fish and chips, and come out and still be in the lead of the race, as he's now stopping in his box, which is right at the end of the pit lane as well. So nice and convenient. He puts his foot down, he's immediately out on the track and back in the thick of it once again. As Cordeo is also coming in, and does he do his drive through or does he do his pit stop? That's the question. It looks like he's coming in to do his pit stop on this occasion, so he will have to come in and do that drive through on the next lap. But I believe he's still got 2 more laps after this one to get that drive through done and out of the way. So time is on his side in this case, but yeah, he needs to get that done at some point. Cheese Monkey stood out there. He's now inherited the lead of the race due to Freeman coming in and making his mandatory pit stop there at the end of lap 13. Kodalungu also staying out. He will obviously inherit second place in this race for the time being. Duke Martin looks like he's also staying out, and it's going to be pretty close here with Freeman. Freeman just about holds on ahead of Duke Martin there for third place out on the track. Cheese Monkey and Kodalungu 1 and 2 here in this race, still yet to make their pit stops. Duke Martin also yet to come in and get that pit stop done and out of the way, as is Zaloba and Moorfielder. Having said that, those two are in the process of getting it done and out of the way as we speak. And Cordeo still yet to do that drive-through penalty, which he must do at some point between now and the end of the race. Cheese Monkey and Kodalungu have got to get those pit stops done as well. Everybody else has come in and done theirs, so that is now the state of play. Cheese Monkey, Kodalungu and Duke Martin have all got to come in before the end of this race. Everybody else has got that done, and it's to the flag for most of these drivers. Freeman's come out, he's 15 seconds clear of Cordeo. Cordeo's still going to come in and make the pit stop. His main rival for the win, so to speak, at this point would be Xander Flander, and he's 20 seconds behind him. So at this point, Freeman looks like he's in cruise control. It's very difficult to see anyone else other than Freeman winning this race here tonight at Silverstone for round 7 of the GT4 Championship. The big question is, where's Cheese Monkey going to finish? The gap coming into this one, 19 points between the two championship contenders, Cheese Monkey and Freeman. So obviously if Freeman can finish first and Cheese Monkey comes in, I don't know, like 6th or something, then I think Freeman would take the championship lead. But we'll have to obviously check that out. The 19-point gap. Let me just have a quick look at the points system, because you know what, I don't do the points for ACC, so I don't actually know what the system is for points. I'm just going to have a little look and see. Let's have a little look, see if we can find it. Let's have a little look, see if we can find the point standings. In the meantime, the two drivers who haven't done a pit stop, Cheese Monkey and Kodalungu, are coming in now. Duke Martin's also coming in, so those three all come in at the end of lap 14. I'm going to try and find the point standing system for the GT4s. We've also got John Jig on the back of Maroon. Let's join those guys as they're coming over the line to complete their 14th lap of the race. John Jig looks like he's very much looking to try and hunt down Maroon for what could be a net 5th, I think, once all the pit stops are done, possibly. I think it's a net 5th with Cordeo and Duke Martin both coming in and getting their stops and their drive-throughs respectively done. As we see there, Codlungu, just to add insult to injury. Oh, what a shame there for Cod. He had to come in twice because he forgot his fuel the first time, and now he's got a stop-go penalty, so he's got to come in again. He's got to come into the pits again to serve a stop-go penalty. His punishment for speeding in the pits is come in for another pits and risk killing somebody again. But that is the way that it is. That's the letter of the law here in these GT3s. And unfortunately there for Codlungu, his race has gone from bad to worse there. That's really not gone to plan at all. Maroon and John Jig still separated by just under a second. Those guys now 4th and 5th in this race with Codlungu's impromptu pit stop. Codlungu has come out behind Pete Bibb, 4 tenths behind him, but he needs to come in again. That's not it. His pain is not over yet. He must come in again for another pit stop before the end of this race. At this point you've really got to feel for Codlungu. This race could not have gone much worse than it has, but it's about to get just that little bit worse here. As Morphy's coming in to make this pit stop at the last opportunity. He's also, Idris has picked up a drive-through penalty, just noticing on the screen there. He's got done for, I guess, speeding in the pits. I don't know. In terms of the rest of the pack, Freeman leads. Xander Flanders has only got 1 second back to Cheese Monkey, so Cheese Monkey could be in a position where he minimises the deficit to Freeman. Obviously, Cheese Monkey leads the championship coming into this round, but his consistency over the course of this season is what is currently keeping him very, very close to the top of the standings. Freeman has outscored Cheese Monkey in 3 of the last 4 races coming into this one, but it looks like he's going to make that 4 out of 5. The only round in the last 4 races that Cheese Monkey's outscored Freeman at was Barcelona, where he took the win and Freeman came second, but Freeman came second last time out at Hungary. Cheese Monkey brought it home in 3rd. 3 rounds ago, at Suzuka, it was Freeman who took the win ahead of Cheese Monkey in 2nd. Bathurst, Mount Panorama in Australia, it was Freeman who took 2nd ahead of Cheese Monkey, who finished in 4th. However, Cheese Monkey leads the championship mainly down to the fact that he won the first 2 races of the season, and Freeman came 4th and 2nd in those first 2 races. So Cheese Monkey had a pretty sizable gap at the start of the season. Since then they've been very evenly matched. It's kind of been tit for tat. Freeman's edged the last few races, I would say, in terms of performance, and he's currently got the lead at the moment. Cheese Monkey really does need to get himself ahead of Xander Flander if he wants to minimise the points gained from Freeman in this particular race. Cheese Monkey's still behind Xander Flander right now, still hasn't managed to find a way through. So we were trying to get the point standings, weren't we? That's what we were doing. Rules and regs, that'll be it. Yeah, so winner gets 60 points, second gets 55, third gets 50. So if Freeman were to take the championship lead, he would need Cheese Monkey to finish in 5th or lower. So at this point it's looking very much like Cheese Monkey isn't going to finish in 5th or lower. He's currently running in 3rd place. He's on the back of Xander Flander, batting it out for 2nd, but anything can happen because he's only got 3 seconds back to Maroon. He's got 5 seconds back to John Jig, so that could all change in the next 23 minutes. But Cheese Monkey, usually a driver who finishes the races pretty strongly, so I can't see that happening at this point. But never say never, that's all I can say on that one. As he is really, really close on the back of Xander Flander right now as they're coming out of Chapel Curve out onto the Hangar Straight. Drive-through penalty for car number 2. That would be Evan. So Evan there picking up a drive-through penalty for unfortunately cutting the track and as a result he'll have to come in and drive through the pits at a very, very slow speed and serve the time that he would have gained through those drive-throughs. So incredibly unfortunate there for Evan in the Mercedes number 2. Was going to be driving the Maserati tonight, but in the end I think caved in and went for the Mercedes, but it's not worked out unfortunately for him with that drive-through penalty. We've still got Cheese Monkey on the back of Xander van der, 3 tenths between those two in the background. You've got Maroon and John Jig coming through Abbey. But just over 20 minutes left to go in this race, and Freeman looks like he's very much got this one in the bag, as Idris has picked up another drive-through penalty by the looks of it. As we see there, Cheese Monkey getting a good run here on Xander van der. Xander van der got a little bit wide there coming out of the loop, and Cheese Monkey's now going to throw one down the inside in towards Brooklands. Yes, he is. Look at that. Brilliantly done there from Cheese Monkey, getting it stopped in plenty of time. Janetta Power versus Janetta Power, or lack of, should I say. But Cheese Monkey gets through up into second place. Brilliant stuff there from Cheese Monkey, and he is now into second place. And that will mean only a 5-point swing in the favour of Freeman in the championship, which will benefit him enormously in terms of Cheese Monkey, because Freeman here has been dominant over the course of this race, really has had the pace over just about everybody. But for Cheese Monkey to only lose 5 points to him in this race, that would be very much a saving grace for this man here in the number 1 Janetta. The reigning champion will still have a 14-point lead in the championship, albeit no, it'd be a 13-point lead as Freeman would get the bonus point for the pole position. Looks as though Evans coming in and getting that drive-through penalty done and out of the way. King Quinn and Lazy Camel look pretty close. Look at this, just a tenth of a second between these two as they're coming up towards Brooklands. I wonder if the Lazy Camel is going to be able to get the move done here on King Quinn. These two a long way off of Duke Martin. They've all made their pit stops already, obviously, as the pit window ended 5 minutes ago. As we see there, the number 2 Evan has done his drive-through and is off and out once again. Xander van der still running just behind Cheese Monkey. Since Cheese Monkey made the move on the previous lap, he's still sticking with him, still not giving up in that battle for second place. But back to this battle between the Lazy Camel and King Quinn. Only 8 tenths between these two coming out of Chapel onto the hangar straight, but it looks as though the Lazy Camel's managed to gap him a little bit over the course of the first sector there, as Idris is now off and going once again, having done that drive-through. Second drive-through in the short space there for Idris, and it's really not gone to plan for our man in the number 407 Mercedes AMG. Not the race he would have been hoping for at all. Jumped in as a late stand-in tonight, to be fair. He popped up in the Discord server on the GT4 chat and said, look guys, would it be alright if I could race tonight? And obviously Freeman must have sent him the password through Discord DMs and got him into the race. But yeah, it's not been the race that Idris would have hoped for in his late substitute appearance tonight. But I'm sure he'll go again next time. And if he knows that he's racing in plenty of time, in plenty of advance before the race, then I'm sure we will be seeing the best from him. The best is yet to come here from Idris, that is for sure. But we've got Cheese Monkey still running in second place. He's got just over a second of a gap to Xander van der at the moment as they're coming out of Chapel onto the hangar straight. But Cheese Monkey looks like he's now maybe got the measure of Xander van der a little bit. Maroon in the background there, just under 3 seconds off of the back of Xander van der, and you've got just under 4 seconds back to John Jig running in 5th place. Looks like there's not really too many other battles going on at the moment on the track, but Snooky's now got Duke Martin closing up onto him. Could it be that Duke Martin's going to bring himself into that battle for the final top 10 spot pretty surely, as they're coming out of Woodcote out onto the start finish straight now. Duke Martin will be getting some slipstream here off of Pete Bibb. Sorry, Snooky, I do apologise. Snooky's running ahead of Duke Martin, not Pete Bibb. But as we are coming in towards the final third of this race, it's looking very much like Freeman's got this one signed and sealed barring any monumental mess ups in this race. But yeah, JR in the comments says we had a great opportunity to close some points on cheese, but everyone decided on drive-throughs and aggressive driving. Yeah, again, it's not really the ideal situation, is it? Pride of Ireland, Evan IRL, says JR. At the moment, not having the race that he would want though. 2.5 seconds behind Snooky. It looks like he might have the pace to try and get himself in the top 10 if he can get himself onto the back of Duke Martin and Snooky and really challenge for some places here in the last part of this race. JR's nickname for Xander Flander, Panda, says he just gave it up. Guy did not even defend. Maybe thinks it's faster to follow than defend to the end. No, I wouldn't say so, JR. I would say that, to be fair, neither of them are in a particularly good opportunity to close in on Freeman, are they? A 20-second gap to Freeman. I think that it probably just didn't have the pace of Cheese Monkey. Probably knew that, but you know, he's got nothing to gain whatsoever by tucking in behind him, because they're so far behind Freeman. They've got absolutely no chance of closing in on him. Guitar Rich saying possible penalty post race, could lose a few places, potentially could. Yeah, as you say, with the turn 1 lap 1 incident into Cops, Cheese Monkey may not have seen the end of this this debacle. If Marty puts in an inquiry, then I'm absolutely certain, I'm 90% sure that Cheese Monkey will get a penalty. And again, he could present evidence that maybe wasn't available to us and could sway the verdict, and that's why I'm saying 90%. But honestly, watching it live, it looked like a slam dunk, clear cut, stonewall penalty towards the number 1 Ginetta. But we'll have to see. It could be very different once we review and once we see all the angles. But yeah, that's just from my interpretation. I haven't even watched it back. I haven't even looked back and seen what happened subsequently or whatever, but yeah, that's just from my immediate reaction to the incident. It definitely looked like that was how it went. In fact, let's have a look at it now whilst we're not busy. Yeah, I'm just watching it back now, the incident between Cheese Monkey and Marty. Just watching them as they're coming up towards the line. So the race starts, Freeman's on the left, Marty's on the right, Cheese Monkey down the inside. Just goes a little bit late on the brakes. I don't know, maybe Marty could have given a bit more room, I don't know. It's actually quite a difficult one, actually, when you look at it. Probably it's Cheese Monkey's responsibility to back out of that one, but actually it does look a little bit like maybe Marty did cut him up, which is quite funny now, because I was saying a few moments ago that it was a stonewall penalty for Cheese Monkey. The key point is where they're going to be in relation to each other coming into the braking zone, because Cheese Monkey seems to be a fair way alongside him by the time they get to the apex, but it's the braking zone that's going to be crucial, and it definitely looks like Cheese Monkey brakes a lot later than Freeman, so I think maybe Cheese Monkey could have been a little bit more careful and might get a penalty, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the stewards make of it. Marty's currently running in 6th place right now, as he has just put a lap on somebody who's just behind him there, so Marty continuing to try and bring the gap down to John Jig. And I said earlier on, I think Marty's going to be aiming for a top 5 here, so let's see if he can go and deliver that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the final 8.5 minutes of Motor Racing's GT4 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Currently watching the race leader Freeman, who's going to carve down the gap to the championship, the Cheese Monkey. It was 19 points coming into this one, with a win and a bonus point for pole position. Freeman is looking set to close the gap down to 13 points. Cheese Monkey doing everything he could do to minimise the points gained by Freeman, currently running in second place, as he's got a couple of seconds back to Xander Flander running in third place. He in turn's got a further 5 seconds back to Maroon, so looks like Xander Flander pretty much safe and secure in that final podium spot. Maroon in fourth, John Jig 3.5 seconds further back there in fifth place. Marty still hunting John Jig down and still making small gains on him, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough at this stage in the race to bring him onto that top 5. Cordeo, after having to serve a drive-through penalty in the early stages, still in 7th place, so he's done a very solid recovery here in this one, as he's just putting a lap there on a Mercedes in the background, and that looks to be Idris there, just having a lap put on him there by Cordeo. But Cordeo not been ideal at all for him with that drive-through penalty. Obviously, you got Nilsson there running in 8th place. He's got a second and a half back to Pete Bibb. Those two still pretty close. That could definitely be one to watch to the flag. You got Duke Martin there running in the final top 10 spot, and he's got a solid gap back to Evan there. 5 seconds he's got back to this man in the AMG, Evan IRL, who toyed with running in the Maserati tonight. Went for his safer bet of a Mercedes as he goes ever so wide there, coming through Brooklands. Oh my goodness me, all over the gaff there, coming into Luffield, but he gets it back on the track. Evan though on thin ice there, not the situation he would have needed at all. Lazy Camel there running in 12th place, has got just about a second back to Snooky. These two still pretty much tied at the hip. You got King Quinn just over 10 seconds behind Snooky at the moment, running in 14th place. Saloba there in P15 in this race at this point. Kodolungu a further 8 seconds back. It's not been the race for Kodolungu at all, has it? First he came into the pits and forgot to put fuel in, then he came into the pits and got a stop go penalty whilst putting his fuel in. Then he had to come in and get that stop go penalty done. I tell you what, if he picked up another stop go penalty, I can imagine that there would probably been ornaments smashing and desks getting broken and TV screens taking a pounding and possibly even PlayStations getting thrown out the window and rigs getting demolished. But luckily Kodolungu managed to come in and get that stop go penalty done without a hitch. But he's down in P16 at the moment. It's not been a race at all for this man in the number 83 Mercedes AMG in any way, shape or form, as he's got currently a Ginetta just about to put a lap on him there. So it's a shame there obviously for him, but yeah, it's just not gone to plan at all. JR in the comments there saying, would have been good to see them fight it out for the entire race with no damage. Absolutely. Would have loved to have seen a battle between Freeman and Cheese Monkey and Marty, but unfortunately Cheese Monkey and Marty had that little collision on the opening lap which just put a nail in the chances of seeing those two really fight it out. As we're just watching Cheese Monkey there putting a lap on Kodolungu getting well out of the way. Kodolungu, it's strange to see him getting lapped, I must say. He's not usually a driver who you see getting lapped. He's usually there at the sharp end battling it out with some of the best, but he's currently just been lapped by Cheese Monkey, and Zandvander will be following suit very shortly there in 3rd place. Pete Bibb's really close the gap to Nilsson. Look at this, the gap between these two only 6/10. This is for 8th and 9th places, and now Pete Bibb can taste that 8th place there. The Audi really has to in the back of the Mercedes, the only Audi in the field for the GT4s here at Motive. Your boy did actually race in the Audi in his first ever race in the GT4s. I did it at Brands Hatch. It was my first race on ACC in the GT4s. It was my actual first race ever in the GT4s. I ended up coming in 9th place in that one out of I think 20 cars, so I was pretty chuffed actually to come 9th out of 20 cars in my first ever race on the game. I actually am quite a experienced racer on project cars, but that was my first ever race on the GT4s. I followed that up the next week though with a P2 at Suzuka on ACC, and that was to Javier Ranz. So you know, P2 to Javier Ranz, I consider that a victory, if I'm honest with you. I know that might sound a little bit blown up and far-fetched, but you know, I consider that a P1. Coming to P2 to that guy, I tell you what, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to brag or anything, but Jesus Christ, he was like another level. He was like an alien. But by the way, if you're watching Javier, that's a good thing. It's a compliment. It's a good thing to be so good at driving that people consider you an alien. Because I'm not actually calling you an alien. What I'm suggesting is that by being that good, you are comparable to an alien. But obviously not an alien. You're a human being. But it's currently still Nilsson keeping Pete Bibb behind him at the moment. Looks as though these two dropping off of Credeo is not really making any gains on Marty Road Racing. Marty though is really bringing the gap down to John Jig at this point. Only 3 seconds between those two. Zanafand has also brought himself back onto Cheese Monkey again. Only just over a second between those two. JR saying that Cod's having a mare, but good to see him keeping with the blue flags. Yeah, for sure. Keeping it clean and obviously not getting overzealous, because it'd be very easy in Cod's position when you're a driver who's got a lot of talent and you are quick and you are able to mix it with the best. It can be very tempting, and I can speak from experience here, it can be very tempting to really push them and try and battle with the leaders, and what you're doing there is you're putting yourself in a very precarious position, because if you end up crashing into one of the leaders when you're a back marker, the penalties are much heftier and the stewards are going to take a far more dim view on it than if you were just battling for position. You know, that makes the difference between a 10-second penalty, and potentially even a points penalty or a black flag, or maybe even a race ban, you know, if it's considered to be negligent enough. So you really have got to be extremely careful when you're battling with the leaders when you're lap down. And Kodolungu was just followed the letter of the law. He just moved it out of the way. Solid driving, very sensible, didn't engage. Got to give hats off to him for that. Marty with half a second faster than P5. Let's go Marty, absolutely. JR, he's flying at the moment. 6/10 quicker on the previous lap. Someone needs to cheat. Someone needs to check Freeman's BMW for NOS. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Or at least some PEDs maybe, but over the line to complete lap 26 of the race. Freeman's on the final lap, so this is going to be the final run for him. Cheese Monkey is keeping Zanderlander behind him. That race is absolutely flown by, honestly. It feels like it only started about 20 minutes ago. It really has passed me by in a flash. But Cheese Monkey there, that was a hiccup, just keeping Zanderlander at bay for the time being, but not by very much at all. Marty's got the gap down to just over 2 seconds to Jonjic, so he's really been bringing that gap. That was another hiccup down over the last few laps, and this could potentially be a very gripping battle for 5th place here at the end of this race. Pete Bibbs running within 7/10 of a second of Nilsson right now. Looks like he still can't find a way around him, but Nilsson with a slightly shaky run there coming out of the loop. Can Pete Bibb get the run coming down the Wellington straight and get himself ahead of Nilsson in towards Brooklands? It's Mercedes versus Audi power. The Mercedes would have a slight pace, a slight straight line speed advantage. Up towards Brooklands they come, and for the time being Nilsson's still keeping Pete Bibb at bay, but for how much longer is he going to be able to, as they're about to start their final lap of the race? Cheese Monkey's got just over a second to Zanderlander. Looks like he's going to be alright in that second place, unless, but it looks actually no. Zanderlander's really gained through that first sector there. Only 7/10 between them. Now this could be battle on here for second place between these two. Also Marty has got the gap down to 1.1 seconds to Jonjic, and he's gaining around half a second to a second a lap, so this could be very close between these two. But I think they are on their final lap of the race, because they're on the same lap as the leader Freeman, so this is their final lap. Marty's got to really do it here and now, otherwise he's going to leave it all out. He needs to leave it all out there, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Zanderlander still on the back of Cheese Monkey, still can't get around him. Freeman is coming out onto the Wellington straight for the final time though, up towards Brooklands. What a drive it's been for Freeman. He's been the man to beat. He's been the fastest driver out on track for the entirety of this event here at Silverstone for round 7 of the GT4s. The gap coming into this round, 19 points in the favour of Cheese Monkey, who leads the championship. Freeman though is going to gain 5 points plus another bonus point, 6 points swing in favour of Freeman. The gap's going to be 13 points in the championship going into the next round, round 8 of the season. 5 races left in this championship. Freeman takes the checkered flag here at Silverstone and is your winner here tonight on the Motive Racing YouTube channel here on ACC in the GT4s. A dominant display of driving from Freeman. He's over 20 seconds clear of Cheese Monkey and Zanderlander. Brilliant job here from Freeman, our admin, our moderator, our GT4 lead coordinator, smashing it out on track tonight. Cheese Monkey out of Luffield in towards Woodcote, and he's going to take a second place here in this race. 8/10 clear of Zanderlander as he crosses over the line there to complete the race. Zanderlander pushed him all the way but couldn't nab him at the end. Flash of the lights there from Zanderlander saying good race there to Cheese Monkey. SMT Maroon crosses the line to take a 4th place. A solid result there from Maroon. Jonjic comes over to take 5th, just holds off Marty. Marty was coming at him like a train there on that last lap, but Jonjic holds on for 5th. Marty's 6th. Credeo is going to come around the final corner of Woodcote and up towards the line. It's going to be a 7th place finish here for Credeo. A good result considering the drive-through penalty that he had earlier on. Kodolungu has finished the race in 15th. Zaloba finished in 16th place there. Nilsson is it's going to be close here between Nilsson and Pete Bibb. Pete Bibb's all over him coming through Brooklands into Luffield. Can Nilsson hold him off here as they're now onto the power for the final time? I think Nilsson's just going to have the legs here. Pete Bibb is really close on him though. He's going to have that slipstream here. They're bumper to bumper over the line, and it's going to be so close, but Nilsson just holds on there for 8th place. Pete Bibb flashed the lights, happy with a great battle there. Duke Martin's going to come out of Luffield here. It's going to be a top 10 finish for Duke Martin. Smashed it hungry last time out. Did a really fantastic job. Not been the night for him here compared to that, but having said that, he's done a really good job there. He managed to actually pull away from the other guys who he was battling with earlier on. He was obviously in the thick of it with King Quinn and Morphy and the Lazy Camel, as well as Evan, so he managed to put out a 7-second gap to Evan there at the end, so hats off to Duke Martin for that. Evan there comes over in 11th place, Lazy Camel 12th, Snooky finishes the race in 13th place as he comes up towards the line to take the checkered flag. King Quin's going to finish it in, I think, 15th, 14th I think it was. So he comes over the line to finish the race. So yeah, 14th place for King Quinn, 15th for Kodalungu, SMT Morphe in 16th with Idris in 17th place, and Zaloba 2 laps down. Evans double, whatever. Number 9 Maserati didn't take the start. For some reason on the leaderboard, but Freeman takes the win ahead of Cheese Monkey and Zanderflander. That's your podium finishers. Big congratulations to Freeman, what a drive from him, and he's going to close that gap to Cheese Monkey in the championship standings. Big thank you to everybody who joined us live on the Motive Racing YouTube channel tonight. If you enjoyed the stream, guys, then please drop a like on the video. If you want to become a part of the action here on the Motive Racing Discord, then be sure to head over to www.motiveracing.com and click the link in the top right that says Discord. That will take you straight to the Discord server, and you can sign up to any of the championships that we've got here. We've got leagues on ACC, GT4s on Wednesday, GT3s on Sunday, plus we've also got leagues on Project Cars 2 and F1 as well. Also got leagues on F1 at our sister league, which is Excel Racing League, so check that out. That will be on our Discord server as well. You'll be able to find that if you look hard enough. But it's been a pleasure, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all the drivers, to the 18 drivers who started and finished. A great turnout, an even better race completion rate there from the guys out on track. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great evening, and good night.